There's a specific kind of frustration that I think we've all felt using AI tools today. It's not that they aren't smart. I mean, they're incredibly smart.
Oh, for sure. It's the 51st states problem of the AI world.
Exactly. You have this 2-hour brainstorming session on a Monday, you build out a whole strategy, and then Tuesday morning you log in and it's just a blank stare. Hi, I'm an AI assistant. How can I help you?
And you have to spend that first 10 minutes just pasting in context again.
Yeah.
Okay, so I am a data analyst. I'm working on Project X. Here's what we talked about yesterday. It's just massive friction.
It is, and it's especially ironic for the people we're talking to today, Obsidian users. We call it our second brain, right? It holds our entire professional life.
Right. And that's the tragedy of it. You have this vault, this folder on your hard drive that has your expertise, your projects, maybe 10 years of notes. But the AI that's supposed to be working inside that vault, it can't see any of it.
It's like having a brilliant colleague in your office, but they're blindfolded and wearing noise-canceling headphones.
Exactly. They can only read the one piece of paper you hand them in that exact moment.
So today we're going to fix that.
We are. We're doing a deep dive into a very specific workflow that, honestly, it pretty much cures this amnesia. We're talking about giving your Obsidian Copilot a real, persistent memory.
A memory that lasts. So when you open a new chat, the AI pretty knows who you are, what projects are on fire, what your writing style is, without you typing a single thing.
Not one word of introduction. And the promise here isn't some far-off, wait for AGI concept.
Yeah.
This is a setup you can build in 30 minutes.
30 minutes of setup.
And maybe 5 minutes of maintenance a month, tops.
Okay, I am completely sold on the premise. But before we get into the, command line stuff, help me understand the high-level picture here. Why hasn't this just been solved already? Why can't I just tell the AI, hey, read my whole vault and remember it?
It all comes down to something called context windows.
Yeah.
Even the biggest, best AI models today have a limit on how much text they can hold in their immediate working memory. If you have a vault with thousands of notes, you can't just shove the whole thing into the prompt every time. It's too expensive, and it's just too much data for the model to process effectively in real time.
It'd be like trying to read the entire Encyclopedia Britannica just to answer, what's the capital of France?
Every single time, exactly. So the solution that we're looking at today uses this really clever two-step pipeline. We need a way to compress that encyclopedia into a cheat sheet.
A cheat sheet. Okay, I like that.
Yeah, or an executive summary.
Yeah.
Step 1 uses a tool called Claude Code, and we send this tool into your vault to act as a librarian. It walks through your folders, reads your notes, and writes up a really high-density summary of your entire life's work.
So it's condensing thousands of notes into just a few really tightly packed text files.
Correct. That's step 1. Then step 2 is taking those summaries and feeding them into the memory feature of the Obsidian Copilot plugin.
So instead of the AI having to read every note, it just remembers the summary.
Precisely. It's the difference between asking a colleague to go read all my files versus handing them a 2-page briefing that says, here's who I am, here are my active projects, and here's what matters right now.
And that briefing document lives in the AI's long-term memory.
It becomes part of its baseline understanding of your world.
Okay, that makes perfect sense conceptually. It's compression strategy.
Yeah.
So let's talk about the toolbox. What does a listener need to have ready to actually pull this off?
There are 3 main components. First, obviously, you need Obsidian. Second, you need the Copilot plugin. And we should be clear, not the Microsoft one, the specific Copilot for Obsidian community plugin.
Which is a fan favorite for sure.
It is. And to power that plugin, you're going to need an API key. Now, this is where it gets a little technical because you're paying for the intelligence. You could use an OpenAI key or an Anthropic key, but the source material highly, highly recommends a service called OpenRouter.
OpenRouter, why that specifically?
Flexibility. OpenRouter is like a universal adapter for AI models. You put in one credit card, you get one API key, and boom, you can access dozens of different models. Google's, Meta's, Anthropic's.
So you're not locked into one ecosystem.
Exactly. Plus, and this is going to be really important later, it often lets you access cheaper models for specific tasks.
Okay, smart. So Obsidian, the Copilot plugin, an API key. What about this memory feature you mentioned? Is that something I have to pay extra for?
Good question. So the Copilot plugin has a free tier and a plus tier. The memory feature is on the free tier, but it's manual. You have to explicitly tell the AI, hey, save this fact to memory.
Which is actually perfect for what we're doing, right? We're setting up a very specific system.
It's perfectly fine. In fact, for this workflow, manual control is almost better. You want to be really deliberate about what you commit to long-term memory. You don't want it remembering your grocery list. You want it remembering the structural pillars of your work.
Fair point. Okay, now for the third tool, the librarian Claude Code. This is where I think some listeners might get a little nervous. It's a command line tool, right?
It is. It's a tool from Anthropic that runs in your terminal. It's basically an AI agent that can read your file system and edit files. And normally, yes, to use it, you'd need an Anthropic account.
Which can get expensive. A pro subscription is like $20 a month.
It is. And that seems steep just to scan your notes, especially if you're already pitched for other AI tools. But here is the real nugget from the source material, the budget workaround. It's brilliant.
Okay.
You don't have to use Anthropic's most expensive models to do the scanning.
You can swap out the brain.
You can. You can configure Claude Code to use other much cheaper models through that OpenRedder key we just talked about. The source suggests a model from Zippo AI, or even one of OpenAI's lighter models, or Anthropic's own cheaper Haiku model.
And what does that do to the price tag? We're going from $20 a month to what?
Pennies. The estimate is around $3 a month to scan a pretty large vault.
Wow. Okay, that changes the equation completely. $3 is a coffee.
Uh-huh.
So we have our tools, we have our cheap API. Let's walk through step 1, installing the librarian. You said command line. Do I need to be a developer to do this?
Not anymore. A year ago, yeah, maybe. You'd have to deal with Node.js and all that. But Anthropic released native installers recently.
So it's just a download?
Pretty much. If you're on a Mac or Linux, you open your terminal, paste in one command from their site, and you're done. If you're on Windows, you use PowerShell.
Is there a catch for Windows users? There's always a catch.
A small one.
Yeah.
A tiny one. You just need to have Git installed, specifically Git Bash.
Git, the version control software.
Right. You don't need to know how to use it.
Okay.
It just needs to be installed on your system because Claude Code uses some of its tools in the background. So for Windows users, just grab the Git for Windows installer first. That's the only real hurdle.
Okay, so we paste the command, text scrolls by. How do we know it actually worked?
You act like a doctor. You just type Claude Doctor in the terminal.
Claude Doctor. Got it.
It runs a little health check. If you see all green, you're good. Then you just type Claude, hit enter, and it'll pop open your web browser to log you in. And that's it. You have an AI assistant living in your terminal.
Okay, step 1 is done. The librarian is hired. Now for step 2, where we send them into the stacks. This is the part that sounded like magic before. How does it know how to scan the vault?
Right. This is the critical part. You can't just tell it, scan my files. You'd get a mess. You need to give it instructions on how to organize the information it finds.
Garbage in, garbage out.
Exactly. So the source material provides a custom skill.
Pause on that. A skill. What's that, like an Alexa skill?
Pretty similar concept. In Claude Code, a skill is just a set of instructions. It's literally a markdown file. And this particular skill is designed for vaults that use the PAR method projects, areas, resources, archives.
Which is Tiago Forte's method, the gold standard for a second brain.
It is. But the cool part is, even if your vault isn't perfectly PRA structured, this skill is smart enough to figure out your folder structure anyway. So you just download this skill file, say init-vault.md, and you drop it into a special folder where Claude Code looks for its instructions.
Okay, file is copied. Now what?
Now you open your terminal and you navigate to your Obsidian vault. So you type, cd documents my vault or whatever your path is. You are now standing at the front door of your library.
And you give the command.
You type init vault, that's it.
Yeah.
That's the command from the skill file. You hit enter and you watch it go.
What's it actually doing in that moment? What am I seeing on the screen?
It's walking folder by folder, it goes into your project's folder, it reads the note titles, scans the content, and then it writes a summary. For every major folder it visits, it creates a new file called claude.e.md.
Claude.e.md. So that's the cheat sheet you mentioned.
That's the local cheat sheet. So inside your projects folder, you now have a text file that lists every active project, its current status, and maybe a one-sentence summary.
But we need the master view, right? I don't want to open 50 different text files.
Correct. And that is the really clever part of this skill. After it summarizes all the subfolders, it rolls everything up into one single clwood.e.md file at the top level of your vault. This is the master index.
The executive briefing.
That's it. And if you open this file, it's not thousands of notes. It's a concise, high-density profile of you. It'll say things like, user is a product manager. User is currently focused on the Q3 launch. User is researching machine learning. It essentially describes your professional identity based on your own data.
Honestly, that's kind of profound, just seeing your own work life summarized like that.
It really is. It's
Yeah.
also a great mirror. If your vault is a total mess, that summary is going to look confused.
Right. Okay, so we have this master text file, but it's still just a file sitting in a folder. The AI in my chat window doesn't know about it yet. So this brings us to step 3, feeding the memory.
The bridge. This is where we connect the docs. You open Obsidian. You open the Copilot chat sidebar.
And do I just copy and paste the whole file in there?
You could, but there's a much more elegant way. Copilot lets you reference files directly using the @ symbol.
Oh, like tagging someone on social media?
Exactly like that. You
Okay.
tag the file so Copilot knows to read it. So you type it claude.e.md, and then you add the instruction. You type @claude.e.md, then you tag it memory, and then you just say, save this to memory.
That's it. Just at claude.e.md at memory, save this to memory.
That is the magic spell. When you hit enter, Copilot reads that high-density summary you generated, it sees the @memory tag, and it essentially bakes that information into a system prompt.
So it creates a permanent bio for me that gets injected into every single future conversation.
Exactly. It's like whispering in the AI's ear before every chat. Hey, remember, this is Dave. He's a data analyst, and he's stressed about the Q3 launch.
And can I be picky about what it remembers?
You can, and you should be.
Yeah.
The source actually recommends being a bit surgical. You might not want it to memorize your whole archives folder, right? That's ancient history.
Right. I don't need it optimizing for a project I finished 3 years ago.
So you might just import the cloudy.md from your projects folder. Or, and this is for the real power users, you can open the master file yourself, delete the stuff you don't care about, maybe bold the stuff that's super critical, and then tell Copilot to memorize your curated version.
You're editing your own biography before you hand it to the assistant.
Which is smart. You're curating your own context. You're deciding which parts of your second brain are most relevant for the AI to know right now.
Okay, so we've installed the tool, scanned the vault, and fed the memory. Let's talk about the payoff, the before and after. The source mentions something called a blank chat test.
This is the ultimate proof.
Uh-huh.
You open a brand new chat, no context, no open files, and you ask a question that requires deep knowledge of your life.
Give me an example.
In the demo, the user asks, very simply, what should I focus on this week?
Which is such a generic question. Normally an AI would say, make a to-do list or check your calendar.
Exactly. But because of the memory injection, this AI responds, well, based on your active projects, your highest priority is the AI agent research. And you have that compliance review deadline coming up on Friday.
It knows what's active.
It just knows. Here's another one, writing style. The user asks, draft an intro for a blog post about this topic. The AI pulls from the area's summary in its memory, sees that the user writes about tech philosophy, sees their usual tone, and writes a draft that actually sounds like them.
Because it has a summary of all your previous work.
It's not guessing your style, it's remembering your style.
That is a massive shift. It changes the tool from being like a search engine to being a partner. But let's play devil's advocate. Life moves fast. My priority project today is archived next month. If the AI still thinks I'm working on it, that's going to get annoying fast.
Right, the senility problem. The AI is living in the past.
Yeah. How do we prevent the AI from going senile?
Maintenance. But the good news is it's super quick. The recommendation is to refresh this process about once a month or maybe after you finish a really big project.
And by refresh, you mean just run the command again?
Yep. Go to your vault in the terminal, type init vault. It overwrites the old klu.ed.md files with the fresh state of your life.
Yeah.
Then you go back into Copilot and tell it to update its memory with the new file.
And I'm guessing you probably need to delete the old memories first.
Yes, that is a crucial step. In the Copilot settings, under the memory section, you can see the list of facts it has stored. You should periodically flush the old stuff. Otherwise, you get conflicting information, Project X is active and Project X is done. That just confuses the model.
It seems like a very small price to pay 5 minutes of cleanup for a month of context-aware help.
Absolutely. Think about how much time you save by not re-explaining yourself 10 times a day.
I do want to clarify one more thing. Copilot already has a Vault QA mode where it can search your notes. How is this different from that?
That's a great distinction. Think of Vault QA or vector search as going to the library to look up a specific fact, like, what did I write in note number 402? It's fantastic for retrieval. Memory, on the other hand, is who you are. It's the context that colors every single answer. You combine them. Memory gives the AI the persona and the priorities. Vault QA gives it the specific data points when it needs them.
So memory is the strategy and Vault QA is the tactics.
That is a fantastic way to put it.
As we walk through this whole process, I'm realizing the barrier here isn't really technology anymore. The data is all there in our vaults. The AI is definitely smart enough. It was just a plumbing problem.
It was a bridge problem. We had the brain, the AI, and the memory, the vault, but they were disconnected. This whole workflow is just about building that bridge.
And it's a bridge that makes the second brain concept actually live up to its name. Because a brain that can't remember isn't really much of a brain.
It's just a storage unit. This turns it into an active participant in your work.
So here's the mission for everyone listening. If you live in Obsidian, you have to try this. Even if you just do the budget setup with a cheaper API key, the first time your AI welcomes you back and asks about that project you were stressing over yesterday, it's a spooky but very delightful moment.
It totally changes the relationship.
That brings us to the end of this deep dive. We've covered the amnesia problem, the Claude Code solution, the whole memory setup, and how to keep it fresh.
It's a really powerful workflow. I'd love to see what people end up building with it.
Absolutely. Thanks for listening. Keep building your second brain.